Good day, everybody. Welcome to Canadian Music in the 80s and 90s and more. A, trying to make it Canadian that way. But I guess I shouldn't say that anymore. I guess it's my guests that really make it Canadian. It's a pleasure to have what I call one of our great Canadian ambassadors to music. Andy Kim, thank you for joining me today.
Honor to be here. Thank you so much.
I guess the reason anyway, I got the idea for doing the interview was, well, there's lots of reasons to interview you, but we're going on 50 years since you're probably one of your biggest hits, Rock Me Gently, which is a staple still on radio today. Um, how does that make you feel knowing it's been that long since you put that out?
Um, well, you know what? I think songs are um, kind of special to the moment.
Mhm.
Um, I think uh, I think the key point in celebrating Rock Me Gently is not so much the song, but the fact that um, nobody wanted to sign me. Nobody wanted to put it out in the US. And I can go back to my childhood knowing that what I can see and feel is more important than what other people tell me.
Right. Because, yeah, the
So
song wasn't very well received at first, was it?
it was not received at all. It's not very well.
Yeah.
No one told me to go in and, hey, redo this and redo that, and we'll listen.
Right.
Everybody just said a no, and historically, when I first went to New York City and I was allowed to be in the Brill Building on the ninth floor with the likes of Lieber and Stoller, Jeff Barry, Ellie Greenwich, Phil Spector, Barry Mann, Cynthia Weil, and Carole King and Jerry Goffin were in an adjacent building, but it was all called the Brill Building.
Right.
Um, and my whole life has been about a dream. It's not been about talent. Um, I found out later on that I did have talent, but I didn't show up as a talent. I showed
Right.
up as a kid that believed this is my one and only life. I'm not living my brother's lives or my parents' lives or my cousins or the people in the tenement that I grew up in. I'm Without understanding it, I was living my one and only life with no sequel. If you believe that you have a sequel, you're going to lose the majesty of what God gave you. The ability to celebrate, the ability to create, the ability to lose, the ability to not get what you think you want to get. This is all impacted into this is your one and only life with no sequel. So I always think about the people that I've dealt with and the people that I deal with. Are they living their one and only life? Or are they looking over their shoulders? Are they looking at, well, I can have a hit with that guy, or I can do this and I can do that. And they're never seeing the majesty of their life. They're criticizing it. They're wishing that they were someone else. Somebody could have done this. Oh my God, I could have done that. I could have been this. It's a false impression as to why we're here.
Right.
Anyway, no more sermons. And we can talk about music. But for me, it's all about I'm living my one and only life.
Um, I mean, it's just amazing. That song's really taken you a long way. Because you're still obviously remembered very quite vividly by, I mean, even today's artists are really know who you are. They're very familiar with who you are. Obviously, you had hits before that. You were making music before that, but that song really did take you places that um, very few artists get to go. I mean, you're still very relevant today. You make a lot of music with some of today's artists. I mean, even your Christmas shows you do every year for charities are just the lineups you put together are incredible. I mean, you must love putting that together every year.
You know, Alan, I'm a dreamer. I really am. And in my dreams of things, somehow, you know, my belief system is that if you have something that's pure and honest to contribute, you can call on people to help you contribute that.
Right.
My Christmas show has, this is my 20th year. From the first year, I had no idea what I was doing. And I still don't own the idea. I get the idea, but I'm always anxious about who's available, who's not available. Will people still like this? Will people still want to come? There's all of those things that help me create something every year. That's kind of mind-boggling to me.
I mean, you obviously have a lot of the same people coming back every year, which must say something for.
Oh my God, Alex Lifeson, Bare Naked Ladies, Broken Social Scene, Kevin Drew on his own, Brendan Canning on their own. Yes. I am forever grateful for everybody that has said yes. You know, before I go on stage, I'm always anxious and nervous until I hear the first few notes to know that I'm actually there.
Right.
And doing the show was just a result of my feeling melancholy at that time of year. It's been
Yeah, you really do know it's Christmas time when you start hearing about your Christmas show.
yeah.
It's really become like a tradition of holidays in Toronto and Canada for that matter.
Um, it's one day at a time, one blessing at a time.
Right.
And I keep understanding that look, when you get older, you become philosophical. You
Right.
know, when you're younger, you write sugar, sugar. It's not philosophy. It's just, you know, Don
Right.
Kirshner calls up and said, anyone has any songs for the Archies?
Right.
And but I do know, you know, sometimes, Alan, you know something in your heart, but it takes time for it to become a reality. Even though you're living it, the understanding of it becomes even more powerful.
Right.
I've always understood that when you're born with a certain amount of heartbeats. You don't know how many have been born.
Right.
So if you know that, which I didn't, I lived it, but I didn't break it down yet.
Right.
The wisdom of getting older. But if you take your heartbeats and you're around the kind of people that understand you, that forgive you, that love you, that care for you, that want to help you be the best that you can be, that's magical.
For sure.
But if you use your heartbeats trying to fend off someone else, trying to talk them into the dizziness of their lives, trying to do anything, you're never going to get those heartbeats back. So as long as you know that you have a certain amount of heartbeats, the decision was made a long time ago. I don't know how, but it's what I believe in. You're spending your heartbeats with me today. no one else. I'm spending my heartbeats with you, with joy and love and kindness in my heart. And so for me, it's such an honor to be able to talk not about music only, but about the state of who we are. The beautiful thing about this conversation is I hope I get to know you better than just someone else that's interviewing me.
For sure. That's a nice way of putting it. And I find it amazing. Like I'm obviously younger than yourself, but I'm into my 50s now, and I really do feel the older you get, the more wisdom you do take with you, and you realize more what's more important. Like sometimes what was important when you were in your 20s doesn't seem so important now. And the things that are important now seem to have more meaning. If you see where I'm coming from,
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yes.
at least, but I mean, yeah, what's important, it really is. It really makes you step back and realize, yeah, what I was thinking was important 20 years ago probably wasn't. So you just people, relationships, family, making more friends and getting along with people and having, just fun knowing people and getting to know people better. Anyway, that's my take on it, if you don't mind my
Well,
philosophy.
no, Alan, I think that the stepping stones of our heartbeats are really predicated on all the stuff that we learned.
Mhm.
I went to the Brill Building in New York on a dream. I had no idea. I knew two chords. I had no idea what it was, but there was something that was bigger than me that allowed me to get on a bus and get off on 42nd Street and 8th and find the Brill Building. And as I look back on it, I think, wow, that's an insane thing to do, which is
Yeah.
what my parents thought. And the stepping stones of wisdom are there if you see them as wisdom. And I was in before I mean, those songwriters are icons. Jerry and Lieber, Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock, if that's all they wrote, they were
Right.
icons. Jeff Barry, Ellie Greenwich, Be My Baby, The Do Run Run, Do Wah Diddy, You've Lost 11 Feeling, Carole King, Jerry Goffin, Barry Mann, Cynthia Weil. Those songwriters are so gifted, and they allowed me to be in their playground. And I did the best that I could to just be me. I think my songs represent me more than I represent what I should have done, what I could have done, all that kind of stuff. It's an amazing journey.
You have definitely been on an amazing journey. I can't imagine what it'd be like being in a building with all those people that you just mentioned. Like, it's just, you must be pinching yourself sometime going, how did I get here?
I do. I really do.
If you don't mind, I want to could you go back to when you first started getting interested in music? Like what were your earliest influence that you remember?
First of all, I grew up in a tenements in Montreal.
Okay.
We didn't have a TV. There wasn't that much going on. I
Mhm.
went to parochial school, which was not too far from there. I was an altar boy. Um, and I have two older brothers, and then there's like a 10, 12-year gap, and then my kid brother and I showed up.
Mhm.
And I can articulate now what I couldn't articulate then, but I felt it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Mhm.
So um, I really I really felt that my future was predicted because of where I lived, what the family structure was like. I had no idea about anything beyond what was in front of me.
Right.
Um, and then I borrowed a transistor radio that my brother Joseph had, and it changed my world. At night, I got WKBW in Buffalo and WABC in New York. Joey Reynolds in Buffalo at nighttime. And there was Scott Muni and so many others, and someone who'd become a friend is Cousin Brucey. Do you know anything about Cousin Brucey?
I don't. I'm sorry. It's before my
Cousin
time.
Brucey has Cousin Brucey Way in Times Square. That's how influential Cousin Brucey was to the audience that listened to him on the radio. WABC was the most influential station in all of the US. And the songs that they were playing always had a story about the artists who were coming to town.
Right.
They're going to play at Palisades Park. They're going to play here. They're going to do this. They're coming to the station, and the girls are lined up outside to meet them for autographs. That's something that caught my attention. I didn't think I could write a song or anything. I'm a dreamer. I'm basically a dreamer. And a few years ago, I saw a quote from a Canadian in 1860. You should look him up. Basil King said, "Be brave and mighty warriors will come to your aid. Be brave and mighty warriors will come to your aid." And I shared a train ride with Sarah Harmer last December. She was on the train with us going to Montreal to do a Christmas show in Montreal.
That's the poster I have on the background right here.
That's really cool, man. Thank you.
Just a coincidence that I have her autographed Sarah Harmer poster on my wall in the back. That's pretty
Well,
neat.
you know what? I think that you know, she did one of my Christmas shows, maybe year 10, I forget. But I really didn't get to know her. And when I called her about doing Toronto last year and she was tied up, and she said, "Well, what about Montreal?" I said, I'd love Montreal. She says, "You know, I live in Kingston." I said, "The train's going to stop in Kingston. I'll make sure the train stops in Kingston." It is where she lives, right? Is that correct? Kingston?
I think so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Where's Gordani from? God rest
Kingston.
his soul. Kingston. So that's
Kingston.
what.
Yeah.
So I sat down across from her and we talked for a little while about life and stuff. I don't talk music, it's what it is, you know. And then I came and I said, "You know, there's a quote from Basil King in 1860, and her eyes lit up and she knew the quote."
Really?
And I thought, kindred spirit, if she knew the quote that said, "Be brave and mighty warriors will come to your aid." So Andy Kim as a child was brave. When I look back on it, drove my parents crazy. There was incredible backlash because I couldn't explain to my parents, who were immigrants from the mountains of Lebanon, I couldn't explain to them that I have envisioned something that is not here, that's not this. You know, Alan, I got a call last year honoring me with the Officer, the Order of Canada. I thought it was a joke, and then I cried like a baby for a good 2 minutes, and while the lady was holding on and saying, it's okay, Andy." because my parents are gone. It would have been such a brilliant moment for the circle to have concluded with, you know what? I'm representing my country now. I'd give away all my gold records for this moment. And I feel so blessed to be talking to you, talking to others about the gift that I was given, and also the gift of believing that I could be in the music business when your parents don't play an instrument, your brothers don't play instrument, they're working people. I don't know anyone in my family and my heritage that ever had a guitar or an oud, which is the Lebanese kind of guitar and stuff.
Right.
I just started something that I believed in. That's why I scream, are you living your only life? And there's no sequel. So, and you know, with Rock Me Gently, it was kind of a magical moment for me when everybody said no, 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 no. Reminded me about my parents saying no, 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 no.
Yeah.
But I decided, after being the songwriter, the artist, the producer, the publisher, that I was going to start my own label. It wasn't a big thing for me. It was just, I'm going to do this. This is what I need in my life. I'm going to do it. And for me, I think that sometimes the agony and the pain and the uncertainty and the concern has to have, if you believe that this is your one and only life, and you fight for your one and only life,
Right.
you have a last moment screen frozen of a portrait that just kind of blows me away, because I think about all the anxiety and all the uncertainty that people had for me and all the pity they had for me. I never really cared. I don't care what people think. I never did. All I wanted to do was what I could do. I'm not better than anyone else. God knows, you know, I'm okay. But that screenshot just kind of makes me smile. And that screenshot that's frozen in time is John Lennon giving me my gold record for Rock Me Gently, unwrapping it as he walked in to the Capitol Record chairman of the board's office. And he said, Andy Kim, great song. And I was frozen. It's the only time that I wish there were cell phones around, because I'm not really interested in cell phones.
No.
But so, am I taking too much of your time, Alan?
No, absolutely not. This is great to hear. Like, that's an amazing thing to have John Lennon give you your gold record.
I mean, it is an incredible moment. And you know, when he came to LA, and well, he was basically there to speak to Bhaskar Menon, the chairman of Capitol, who was telling me that he's coming with me to do Top of the Pops in the UK.
Right.
But I was ushered out. The chairman just realized what just happened. He gave me my gold record, and I swear to you, he grabbed my elbow and kind of like pushed me out the door. But it didn't matter. It was the freeze frame of my movie that if you're brave enough and fight the battle enough.
Yeah.
It's not so much John Lennon, but there will be that moment that you'll say, God, I'm so happy I stayed true to my instinct, to myself, and didn't allow the American record companies to tell me that my life was over or my musical life was over, you know?
You also came from a time where I think Canadian music was really kind of, it was almost the birth of the real Canadian music industry. Like the Junos hadn't been around that long. Um, Maybe it was kind of the beginning of a superstar system in Canada when it came to music. I mean, it was before Much Music. I don't know if it was it before CanCon.
You know, I have no idea. I think CanCon was kind of there for it. It was in the embryonic stage of itself.
Right. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you think about, the system that was just being born back then. Like I don't, the Junos weren't what it was now. It was kind of, I don't know when the Juno, I think it started in 1970, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
It was,
someone told me that I received the first Juno, but it was the wooden Juno
oh, right,
that
right,
was
right.
ever given. Um, I don't know. All I know is that, Gordon Lightfoot was there and Anne Marie. I won in the, I think, international pop category. Well, I forget the category, but awards are awards, but they don't define you.
They don't, they definitely don't. But I mean, we didn't have the Much Music thing back then to really help a lot of careers
Yeah.
like I believe it did in the 80s. I really think it launched a lot of careers because again, there was somebody else that was kind of similar to you by taking the chance you did with Rock 'em Gently and doing your own thing. Um, I thought Moses from Much Music was really doing something different. He was playing anything. If you were a Canadian act, you got played
Yeah.
on Much Music. He was doing things nobody else was doing.
I think he's brilliant. And I saw the documentary on, what's it called? Something Queen Street or something?
Oh, 299 Queen Street. Yes, it screened here
299.
in
Yeah.
it screened here in Charlottetown. It was a great documentary.
And I just was blown away. I kind of missed that time.
Mhm.
It's like I've been in and out, and if I went home to Montreal, and that's a different that's a different landscape.
Yeah, definitely. But um, yeah, but that's where you came from, that industry that was really the birth of it. If you think the birth of the Canadian scene, I think anyway. I mean, you had Gordon Lightfoot, Anne Marie, yourself. Um, I guess to an extent, Stompin' Tom, guys like that, Murray McLaughlin. Um, those would have been kind of the bigger artists back. Joni Mitchell. Those would have been kind of the birth of real Canadian music industry, I think. Um, and you were right there along with it.
Well, you know what? I um, only because my career started in the U.S. and 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 everything I learned I brought to Canada with me
Right.
as far as this particular song goes. And to me, that's why it's important. Um, I mean, I love the song itself. I think uh, producing it, writing it, producing it was just one of the biggest ties I've had in my life. I mean, I stayed in the studio an extra 3 hours and spent something like $750 and at that time just to kind of have the engineer play one more time for me. Just one
Right.
more time. I'll be gone. Trust me. No, just one more time. I just need to hear it one. I could not believe that was my record. And then everybody turned it down, but that belief never was never shattered. It was never less belief. It was like, really? How come you don't hear this? Well, you know what? I'm going to start my own label. I'm going to be my own promotion man. I'm going to do it
And this
because
song
it's
still
my
gets
one
played
and only
today.
life.
I still hear, I heard it twice today
Oh,
on radio in the background in my life today. Like I still hear it all the time. Um, it must be amazing that to you that that song still has the life that it does today. Like I said, I heard it twice today on radio. You
well,
know,
you know what? You know, it resonates. It's when it's live, it's just it's one of those most powerful moments for me. When you hear the doon 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 the doon 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 and it starts playing. It's like the audience just loves it, and I respond to it in such a huge fashion. And I'm so honored that people are taking time to talk to me, especially you, Alan. Thank you.
oh, it's I mean, it's one of those songs that just, you know, an artist only dreams of having a song that had the impact that a song like that had. You know, and I guess a lot of artists do have that one song that really resonates with everybody. I guess like a Tom Cochrane's Life is a Highway is a good
Yeah.
example. Um, Bare Naked Ladies have several actually, and I understand you've worked with Ed Robertson before.
You know, I have to tell you something. Ed is one of the reasons why I I came back from being missing in action. Um, I did Kumbaya with Ed,
Mhm.
and um, that was the beginning of something very special. It was just Ed, Steve, Jim, and Tyler,
Right.
and thank you, Molly Johnson, for inviting me. I don't know how she got my phone number, but she got my phone number and impressed on me that I should come. And that a young band called the Bare Naked Ladies were gonna be my backup band. And Ed and I just somehow just connected, and a little while later he said, "Hey man, we should write a song together." And it took a while, and we finally did. And then uh, Ed produced this song. I usually like to come into the studio, Alan, early on, just to see how the engineer is
Yeah.
miking the drums and all of that stuff. He said, "No, I'll make the record. You'll come in and you'll tell me what changes you want." So I'm in a hotel room waiting for him to call me. So he finally calls me. I come into the studio, and there was nothing to change. I was totally blown away. And uh, And the same thing happened. There really wasn't a market for Andy Kim. So I decided I'm going to start my own record company. Again, it'll resurface. And and it started to get airplay, and it became um, top 10 hot AC, whatever that meant. And
Right.
I won Indie Artist of the Year at Canadian Music Week. I thought I'm an indie artist now because I restarted my record company and whatever, you know. And Ed's been such a dear friend, and really is responsible uh, for giving me uh, the ability and the vision to say yes to something that I didn't understand. But I said yes, be brave, and mighty warriors will come to your aid.
It comes right back to that again, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Um,
really does.
what is it like? Like, I mean, I hear the Trans Canada Highwaymen, which is made out of Stephen Page and a couple of other, and they're doing songs from your era. I think they did one of your songs on their
They
album.
did a great song. Chris called me originally and said, "We're doing your song. I hope you're going to like it." I said, "I hope I'm going to like it too." And there was like silence. I said, "I'm kidding. I'm sure I'm going to like what you're going to do, you know." And then I hear that, you know, I heard this final version, and I just loved it. Look, I'm just honored to be part of this brilliant industry here. I don't want to be the king of it. I don't want to be anything other than a part of it. Um, and I am, and everyone's been kind enough, as you said earlier, to do the Christmas shows. Nobody gets paid. I don't pay anybody. They show up and they donate their time, whether it's Nelly Furtado or Bare Naked Ladies, Alex Lifeson, Broken Social Scene, Metric a couple of years ago, Maestro, who came last year, and I'm so happy for his induction this year. It's just been,
Right.
it's incredible.
What's it like doing those shows? It looks like it's a lot of fun as well. Like not just you're helping charities, which is the main
It's the
part of it,
best
but
time. It's the best time. I'll tell you why, because the energy and the love and the kindness that everybody has backstage for the bigger purpose.
right.
And it's beyond me, to be honest with you, Alan. 20 years. And I don't think I've gotten any better of doing it. You know, I'm always anxious to see who's in town, who's not in town. I mean, during COVID, um, I tried to get uh, to do something, and then Rogers came on board and said that if I could do it in a healthy fashion. So I got the Elma combo, and we were able to do one artist every like 2 or 3 hours,
Right.
and you know, Kevin showed up, and Dallas Green and Sarah McLaughlin sent me a song from her hometown, and so did Buffy send me a song from her hometown, and or where she, you know, she lives in Hawaii, and it was an exercise in no, we can't let this skip a year, and be brave, and Mighty Warriors will come to your aid.
Gets right back to that. Well, I'm never gonna forget that now.
I'm telling you, it is the truth. It's like, okay, so maybe we can do the Jerry Lewis telethon. No, you can't do it because I said, well, people can be in the audience, we all in the back, and people will come in and bring checks. No, we can't do it. Just believing that something can be done for not the glory of anything other than helping. And the ratings were so great for Rogers, they asked the permission to, because we didn't get paid. I didn't
Right.
get paid. The artist didn't get paid. If they replayed it on Christmas Eve. And look, Alan, I have no idea how it happens. The only thing that happens is, am I excited about this? Do I want this to happen? And I can't, it's not an hour or 2 hours of Andy Kim. It's Billy Talent and Sheepdogs and Finger 11 and just everybody that wants to help so that we can make as much money to help people. One year, there's a which was really phenomenal before I got together with Cam H and Gifts of Light. Juliet's Place, it still exists in Toronto. It's a place for abused women, but those that have children can come and stay with them as well. I was just friggin' blown away by that thought. First of all, anybody being abused, you know, you want to get an army to stop this. You want to build a
Right.
wall against that happening to anybody. So Be brave, and mighty warriors will come to your aid.
I'm never going to forget that now.
Know that you're living your one and only life and there's no sequel. And if you're not living your one and only life, then you should look internally and see what you think you need to be able to grasp the fact that this is your one and only life and there's no sequel. And so I think once people grasp that fact and they're not looking over their shoulders and envious and wishing this upon people and stealing this from someone just to, because there's a lot of fear involved if you're not living your one and only life. But when you are living your one and only life, you understand that the birds mean something to you. The clouds mean something to you. My God, I can actually see. And if you can't see, you can breathe it all. I remember as a kid, and am I taking too much of your time?
Not at all. Not at all.
As a kid, my older brothers worked at an amusement park called Belmont Park in Montreal. And I forget how old I was, but they needed a gopher. And I was the guy that, you know, went to do this and went to do that, and I was pretty occupied. And one time there was a moment when it was, you know, people were walking around and stuff, but I didn't have anything to do. And I heard that it's still in my heart today. The best laughter that I have ever heard in my life. It came from somewhere within someone's heart and someone's spirit that was huge. And I turned to look, and there were 3 boys, 2 on each side, pushing the wheelchair of their friend who was sitting. And he's the one that had the best laugh in the world. I never knew who they were, but I remember this beyond Sugar Sugar and beyond going to New York. I was a kid, but I remember that laughter coming from someone who was a little older than me in a wheelchair. And I thought something magical is happening within his spirit. And his friends were laughing as well, but his laughter was almost like a blessing laughter that you heard it and you felt good all of a sudden. So it's those things in life that propel me. I appreciate the fact that, you know, I always saw the word no as another opportunity for me to pursue my destiny.
Right.
No was never a dark word for me. It was just, oh, I don't belong here. I belong here. Oh, I don't belong here. It just comes back to us. What are we doing with our one and only life?
It's kind of I see where you're coming from. My attitude in life lately is, why not? You know, when someone says, can you do this? And I say, why not?
Why not? That's beautiful. There
You know,
really is.
I got started doing this kind of by accident. I was with 2
It
fellows.
wasn't an accident, but go ahead.
These 2 fellows had me help them run a Stompin' Tom fan club on Facebook. And I was interviewing fellows that used to play in his band over the years. And I thought, why can't I do this for myself? Like, do what I like to do, because I like all kinds of Canadian music of all eras. And I just said, why not? I started a Facebook group and I started doing the YouTube videos, and like you said, be brave, which is something I've never really been good at, doing stuff like this. You know, and you never know who's going to come forward. I've already went well overboard the people I ever thought would come and talk to me about their
Yeah.
music careers. you know, and you're just having you come join me today is even proving it even more. I can't believe how far I've come in the last year and a half, just doing this for fun and saying, why not?
Yeah,
Why not do it?
it's beautiful. Congratulations.
No, I
You
agree.
got there because of whatever it is, from birth to here. We never know when we're going to get there, but it's always there reminding us. It's just that once we realize, oh, yeah, why not?
Well, the technology has helped too. Like I like you is on the fence about some technology, but I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do this in the 80s, you know, like, I mean, but the fact that I can do this now is incredible because of the technology we have.
Well, you know what? I think that you are where you are. The technology happens to be there, but someone else would not have said, why not?
True.
Someone else would have said, those people and these people. And I think your spirit is on the mend.
That makes sense. Makes sense. Man, I'm never gonna forget that expression though. That's an amazing thing to take with me, for sure. Um, so what are your future plans? What's coming up for Andy Kim soon?
I'm doing something that I've never done before, and I got a call from my friend Dan Hill, who said, "Hey man, how about we do like just guitar vocals, you know?" So we're going to tour together and do some shows next week into the beginning of June. I've got Kevin Drew and I are writing again together, so I'm excited about that. And I'm doing some festivals in the United States. You know, it's like it's the cycle of life sometimes that something happens and you become busier than you were 2 years ago. You become busier than you were yesterday. You
Right.
become, and I don't know how that happens, but I've always come to life this way with my arms wide open. I'm unafraid, basically. Maybe I'm foolish, but I am unafraid. Maybe I'll be a little afraid because, you know, Dan's done this before, and I've always had a band with me, but we'll see what happens.
Well, it's
Brave
actually,
and mighty warriors will come to your aid.
that's right. Well, I don't see anything. I hope any chance you can bring this to the Maritimes because I think that would be a really good show to.
I will tell you something. If you can help me gather a place that can bring the artists in the Maritimes together, I would love to work with you on that. I don't know who's out there. I really, my geography is kind of pretty limited, you know, Los Angeles, Toronto, Montreal. I go to Calgary. I do a show in Calgary every year now.
Right.
It'll be my third year. I go to Montreal. But would you give us some thought? And I'd love for you to reach out to me.
For sure.
You can
Yeah.
call Eric and we can you know connect. And because you know I'd love to spend the better time of December just going everywhere in Canada and bringing some artists with us that would love to kind of hang and have a good time. And if they're free enough to do this, we don't pay anybody, but we do sell tickets. And my first Christmas few shows were $25. because I'm interested in the folks that take the streetcar, the bus, and the subway. I'm not interested if you can buy $200 or a $5,000 ticket to go see someone else.
Right.
I'm interested in the fact that you came from where I came from. So I always keep it, you know, pretty decent as far as that goes. But there are bills to pay, and I don't mind helping those bills, but it would be great.
Yeah, I'd love to see you come out here with Dan Hill, actually.
Dan Hill's a problem. He's kind of a he's a big problem. You want to know why he's a problem?
Why is that?
Because he's been my friend since 1977. And I have loved him from the beginning. And I say that as in humor that he's a problem.
Yeah.
I think we can talk to Dan about it, and we can, I mean, I know he's going to do my Christmas show again this year. He did it a couple of years ago. And this year's a wonderful celebration of those that have been kind enough to be with us, you know.
Yeah, we just had Ian Thomas here in Charlottetown about 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And he's doing a full band tour right now, like just going through his entire career. It's absolutely incredible to hear all the songs you didn't realize he did.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's
Well, you
unbelievable.
know, Dan Hill's a very special spirit. When he asked me to do this tour, I'd never done it. I'm only doing it because Dan's going to be there. I'll hang around with Dan 24/7 because he's just, the insides of him are just a gift.
Is this your first time collaborating with him?
Yeah. We've never written a song, but we've been friends since 1977. But whenever we've been together, it's been like a treasure. He's one of a few people. You know, I think about, you know, Kevin Drew as being kind of like this magical person that came into my life. I think he's an incredible human being, and completely different generation. But making that album with him was the gift of my life. Because of him, I did the Letterman show with him before Letterman retired. And Kevin gave me a call. I said, you know, Hal Willner is doing something in LA. Yeah, you got to come. And I end up being on stage singing Sugar, Sugar with Courtney Love. How does that happen? Kevin Drew. Be brave and mighty warriors will come to your aid.
Actually, I was just talking to,
I'm sorry?
do you know Tim Hadley?
No.
He's a famous bass player. He's played with Stompin' Tom, but he's also played in punk bands back at the Horseshoe Tavern back in the old days. He told me he was at a show just recently and Ron Sexsmith brought you. And you guys sang Sugar Sugar, and he said it was the happiest thing he's ever seen.
Well, there you go. Ron Sexsmith's one of those magical people too, you know. That's got such talent and such an incredible history. I came at it late. You know, I went to New York City first.
Right.
Because if you grew up in Montreal, you know you want to go to New York City. But no, getting to know Toronto is it's incredible. The talent that's here, the magic that was always here. And you're talking about Moses earlier, you know. I am in awe every time I see his picture or his face, or I go to Zoom to, you know, do an interview and stuff. Zoomer, they should give him every accolades, and they should have a statue in his name, to be honest with you.
I really believe that as well. Just like I said, it's just amazing what it seems like he's always been there for the underdog to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, he's always, he's always giving a chance to someone who probably would have normally not. Even when he ran City TV, there were people doing the news there that you'd never see on another news channel because they didn't fit the mold of the standard news person. Um, VJs he had on the air. It was so not like MTV, but it worked.
Oh, when I saw the artists that showed up to be part of his world, um, that's a very special. I mean, we own him as Canadians,
Yeah,
but I think that his spirit and is just uh, something that is beyond words for me. When I I sometimes see him and part of me gets a little frozen. Not as much as John Lennon, but somewhat, you know.
right, for sure. I wish you good luck in your future, sir.
Thank you. And you'll keep me in touch with Eric regarding Christmas, regarding whatever's going on.
Absolutely, I would love to do that.
Okay. I'm
I,
counting on you.
I thank you very much for
Don't
joining me.
disappoint me.
I won't. I mean, it's a pleasure to be asked to do that. Um, I really appreciate you joining me today. It's great chat.
Thank you. I know you're going to cut it up and make it into 30 seconds, but I enjoyed all of this.
Actually,
Because you know what? You're
that's
never
one
going to
thing
get
that's what I don't do, actually. I like this. I don't edit.
so, Alan, you're never going to get these heartbeats back. You're never going to get these heartbeats back.
Exactly.
And for me, I'm in gratitude the fact that it was you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Be happy.
Take care of yourself, sir.
You too. Thanks for your interest. God bless you.